Well, hello there, welcome. This is the Unintentional ASMR Book Club. If you're new here, thanks for joining in. You're just in time with bedtime stories. Tonight's book is a continuation of the previous reading of this book called And the Mountains Echoed. So, let's continue where we left off. It happened one day that a div came to Maidan's house. As it approached the village from the direction of the mountains, the earth shook with each of its footfalls. The villagers dropped their shovels and hoes and axes and scattered. They locked themselves in their homes and huddled with one another. When the deafening sounds of the div's footsteps stopped, the skies over Maidan's sobs darkened with its shadow. It was said that curved horns sprouted from its head, and that coarse black hair covered its shoulders and powerful tail. They said its eyes shone red. No one knew for sure, you understand? At least no one living. The div ate on the spot those who dared steal so much as a single glance. Knowing this, the villagers wisely kept their eyes glued to the ground. Everyone at the village knew why the div had come. They had heard the tales of its visits to other villages, and they could only marvel at how Maidan's sobs had managed to escape its attention for so long. Perhaps, they reasoned, the poor, stringent lives they led in Maidan's sobs had worked in their favor, as their children weren't as well fed and didn't have as much meat on their bones. Even so, their luck had run out at last. Maidan's sobs trembled and held its breath. Families prayed that the div would bypass their home, for they knew that if the div tapped on their roof, they would have to give it one child. The div would then toss the child into a sack, sling the sack over its shoulder, and go back the way it had come. No one would ever see the poor child again, and if a household refused, the div would take all of its children. So where did the div take the children to? To its fort, which sat atop a steep mountain. The div's fort was very far from Maidan's sobs. Valleys, several deserts, and 2 mountain chains had to be cleared before you could reach it. And what sane person would, only to meet death? They said the fort was full of dungeons where cleavers hung from walls. Meat hooks dangled from ceilings. They said there were giant skewers in fire pits. They said that if it caught a trespasser, the div was known to overcome its its aversion to adult meat. I guess you know which rooftop received the Duke's dreaded tap. Upon hearing it, Baba Ayub let an agonized cry escape from his lips, and his wife fainted cold. The children wept with terror and also sorrow, because they knew that the loss of one among them was now assured. The family had until the next dawn to make its offering. What can I say to you of the anguish that Baba Ayub and his wife suffered that night? No parent should have to make a choice such as this. Out of the children's earshot, Baba Ayub and his wife debated what they should do. They talked and wept and talked and wept. All night they went back and forth, and as dawn neared, they had yet to reach a decision, which was perhaps what the Div wanted, as their indecision would allow it to take 5 children instead of 1. In the end, Baba Ayub collected from just outside the house 5 rocks of identical size and shape. On the face of each he scribbled the name of one child, and when he was done, he tossed the rocks into a burlap sack. When he offered the bag to his wife, she recoiled as though it held a venomous snake. "I can't do it," she said to her husband, shaking her head. "I cannot be the one to choose. I couldn't bear it." "Neither could I," Baba Ayub began to say, but he saw through the window that the sun was only moments away from peeking over the eastern hills. Time was running short. He gazed miserably at his 5 children. A finger had to be cut to save the hand. He shut his eyes and withdrew a rock from the sack. I suppose you also know which rock Baba Ayub happened to pick. When he saw the name on it, he turned his face heavenward and let out a scream. With a broken heart, he lifted his youngest son into his arms, and Kois, who had blind trust in his father, happily wrapped his arms around Baba Ayub's neck. It wasn't until Baba Ayub deposited him outside the house and shut the door that the boy realized what was amiss. And there stood Baba Ayub, eyes squeezed shut, tears leaking from both back against the door, as his beloved Kois pounded his small fists on it, crying for Baba to let him back in. And Baba Ayub stood there muttering, "Forgive me, forgive me," as the ground shook with Div's footsteps, and his son screeched, and the earth trembled again and again as the Div took its leave from Maidan Sabs. until at last it was gone, and the earth was still, and all was silence but for Baba Ayub, still weeping and asking Qais for forgiveness. Abdullah, your sister has fallen asleep. Cover her feet with the blanket. There, good. Maybe I should stop now. No? You want me to go on? Are you sure, boy? All right. Where was I? Ah, yes. There followed a 40-day mourning period. Every day, neighbors cooked meals for the family and kept vigil with them. People brought over what offerings they could: tea, candy, bread, almonds, and they brought as well their condolences and sympathies. Baba Ayub could hardly bring himself to say so much as a word of thanks. He sat in a corner, weeping, streams of tears pouring from both eyes, as though he meant to end the village's streak of droughts with them. He wouldn't wish his torment and suffering on the vilest of men. Alright, so that was the reading of the book called And the Mountains Echoed. I hope you enjoyed that reading, and if you do, give it a like, yeah, and share it with the world. And don't forget to subscribe. The button is just down there. And if you haven't subscribed, hey man, what are you waiting for? Alright, so have a great night. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.